Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this week's edition of dumb things that people say to trans people to try to hurt our feelings, or I don't know what they're trying to do. We got a real doozy this week, didn't expect this one because normally I blow these things off, but every time that there's a campaign against people, it seemed like the Republicans, or maybe it's the Heritage Foundation, who knows, they seem to have put out a memo that goes out on a mailing list, and for that week and that 1 week only, they'll use the same exact words, the same talking points, and it just gets repeated and repeated. And so some particular woman on Facebook got all offended by a meme that just basically said, our people deserve the same dignity and respect as anybody else, and you could start by, acknowledge, using pronouns, or, just kindly not say anything at all. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, maybe you didn't grow up with the golden rule like we did, it's like you want to treat people how you want to be treated, because in not doing so, it says a lot about you. So, getting back to this particular woman, okay, and again, the talking points. So the talking point of the week is delusion, all right? Now, these people who are suddenly experts on, what it is to be transgender, mind you, they didn't know we existed 3 years ago, but suddenly now they're all experts. They're either saying we're mentally ill or that we are suffering from some kind of mental delusion. No, honey. And she goes forth and says she refuses to use pronouns because she does not want to collude with our delusion. No, honey. The delusion is yours that you believe you know what you're talking about. Clearly you don't, because by that statement, not only reveals that you are very bigoted, but you're also very lazy, because you don't know what you're talking about. You just repeating what other people have said. You can't be bothered to understand the issue, so why are you offering an opinion? I mean, didn't your mama teach you that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe you are raised in a barn, who knows? Anyway, whatever the case may be, doesn't really concern us. But I want to address this thing, okay? Using the word collude, and the way they use it and the frame they use it, it's like, seriously, what do you think you are, Fox Mulder? Come on. You're definitely, maybe you learned that word during the Mueller report, who knows? Doesn't really matter, because guess what? Everyone's gonna have opinions, right? And when it comes to your opinions on us, we don't really care, because we're gonna live our lives anyway, regardless of what you have to say. We don't really particularly care, and when it's not our job to educate you. I mean, I've heard the claim that we're somehow shoving our lifestyle down your throat. No, we're not. We're just living, You haven't seen me knock on your door and ask you if you have time to discuss what it is to be transgender. No, that's never going to happen. However, I've had people knock on my door trying to ask me if I want to learn about Jesus or their God. So you want to talk about shoving things down people's throats? There you go. Anyway, so that's not us. So getting back to this collusion, now you use the second word, delusion. No, honey. The delusion is yours, because you think you understand this issue and to even offer an opinion. And frankly, you don't, because by offering such, you reveal just how lazy you are by simply repeating Republican talking points. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this is a bigger statement on, or a bigger reflection on your life. Maybe you're lazy in everything, who knows? I don't know. I don't really care, Gus. And I'm not going to reveal your name on my channel because, hey, it doesn't matter. There'll be another tool of the patriarchy repeating the same thing. Another woman who is blindly doing the attacks on us, while the people who have put her up to it are plotting to take her right to vote away. Who knows? Maybe she likes that kind of thing. Maybe she's into that whole Stepford Wife thing. I don't know. It's like whatever. It doesn't matter, because we frankly don't care. Because I mean, you think for 1 second we've lived our entire lives in fear. We've had bullying, harassment, a lot of physical altercations since early childhood, you know, carried well into adulthood, where things escalated, where people have actually tried to kill us, you know. I myself am the survivor of 2 sexual assaults by cisgender men, you straight white men. Yeah, you guys. Not us, you guys. Frankly, we don't have the ability to do anything like that, nor the desire, but you're going to go ahead and lie about us anyway. You know, again, if you're going to claim you didn't know for sure, but you believe the person who told you, then you're the one with the delusion. Because you're believing stuff you know to be lie. That actually makes you a demagogue on top of that. So now you're lazy and a demagogue on top of being a bigot. Well, doesn't really help your case very much. But again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of what your opinion is worth, you know, our lives are not an issue for debate. We exist. We existed. We've always existed. Always will, you know. Nazis thought they could murder us all, and guess what? It happened in 1946. 1 year after Adolf Hitler, you know, stuck his pistol in his mouth and pulled the trigger, a whole new generation was born, because you can't predict who's going to be one of us. I mean, hell, we couldn't even predict, but eventually we caught on, you know. We caught on because our bodies have been telling us who we are for a long time. I mean, usually starts at age 4. Age 4, age 5, you know. And I've known since 1972, so don't tell me that I have some delusion, you know. It's like, look, you know, I don't live as a man. I haven't lived as one in a very long time. I don't function as one. I'm more or less a housewife these days, you know, little housewife who I'm almost at retirement age, mind you. Little old housewife who likes goth industrial music. Well, that's kind of it. I raised 2 kids, and you know, I live a pretty normal, almost kind of boring life, except, you know, hey, I like wearing some cute stuff, but that's besides the point. And remember, you grew up with this shit, I didn't. So, before you go through the trouble of just attacking us, you know, consider this idea. I mean, seriously, didn't your mama teach you if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? It's not that hard. I mean, you don't have to be a participant in this shit, you know? We don't want to be participants in your shit, because you guys have really made a muck of things. I mean, all these Republicans putting out all these fucking laws. I mean, coming after us isn't going to lower the price of eggs. It's not going to lower the price of gasoline. It's not going to put food on your table. It's not going to affect the way you receive your taxes. You know, it's not going to affect your life at all, period. I mean, whatever your reasons for jumping on this big hate wagon, I don't know what they are, but regardless of which, chances are you probably have never met one of us. And if you've encountered one of us, you probably didn't even notice. I mean, I haven't had problems in 30 years. I mean, and I've been using the women's room the whole time, okay? So, I mean, the one time when I went off hormones, I, you know, gave it a shot and went into the other one, and what happened? I got threatened, and someone will try to almost literally attack me. So, yeah, no, we're not doing that thing. So, trust me, you're a lot safer with us than one of those guys. Trust me, you know, or Donald Trump for that matter. I mean, come on. You know, adjudicated rapist, you know, 34 felony fraud counts, yet he's going to say we're the ones committing fraud? No, we're not committing fraud. We did this legally. Our birth certificates, our driver's license, all our IDs, we did it legally through the courts. We filed, we made petitions, we paid attorneys, and we got a judge to sign off, so that's legal, okay? And that's how we did it. We did everything by the book. You know, it's just not some fantasy, not some delusion, as you put it. You know, none of those things, you know? We did things like anybody else because we want to live like anyone else. Again, I'm just some little housewife who, raises 2 kids and listens to goth industrial music, but that's me. So anyway, so again, reconsider the golden rule. Treat people how you want to be treated, because being on the receiving end of all this bullshit hasn't been very nice. But if anything else, it's taught us a lot about who you people are. I mean, we've got some wonderful people actually come to our defense. And at the same time, we've also had some rather horrible excuses for human beings. Literally, make some of our people, have to watch their backs, look over their shoulders. I mean, it's not been fun for us. I mean, as it stands, I can only move around freely in 13 states in this out of 50. And that ain't right, You've made all these laws because you guys have been whipped into a hysteria. Republicans, I mean, they've not done anything to put food on your table. They're not doing anything about your health care that's being taken away. But you're going to make it your priority to come after us, which is stupid. It's like priorities, folks. We're the least of your problems. But you've created a lot of problems for us. Okay? So, anyway, again, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, because it really does make you look stupid. And frankly, your opinions, well, again, I don't really give a shit, because I'm going to live my life. I'm going to raise my kids. I'm going to make love to my wife. I'm going to play my music, and maybe I'll dance too, or maybe, sing with the band again. Who knows? But anywhere around it, you can sit in your little hate stew all you want, or do something constructive with your life instead of trolling, pages that, speak in our defense. I mean, what's happening is pretty awful, and, consider it. But you've already bought into the idea that we're not even human beings, much less fellow American citizens. And this country used to protect the people that could least protect themselves, and we're a pretty small minority. So again, chances are you probably never met us, never talked to one of us, and if you did run into one of us, chances are you probably didn't even notice, because we don't like the attention. We just, but hey, whatever. So hopefully you've learned something. Probably didn't, but if anything else, I've got to share your story. And for what it's worth, hey, it was an amusing exercise. But again, getting worked up about it's not going to happen, because your comments, your opinions, and all these nasty things you have to say, it isn't worth the paper I wipe my ass on. Anyway, work it out. And like I said, learn that golden rule. It might actually do you some good. Who knows? Anyway, this has been David Death Dolly, and that's the end of my rant.